Okay, we have breaking news. This is out of the Newhall Pass. A semi-truck, believe it or not, stolen. And we have, I believe, CHP behind this, and we're going to go up to Desmond Shaw to find out more about what's happening here. Des?
Well, here we go, Pat. I have a feeling this one could go on for a while because we understand that this actually originated in Bakersfield with this truck now that has come over the Grapevine through the Santa Clarita Valley, and now we are southbound on the 5 making our way through Arleta towards the 170. Here is the truck right here. You see CHP that are behind this one. So it's already transferred through several different divisions of the CHP, and it sounds like this was taken while someone was filling up the gas tank on this huge truck. So it's one of these semis. It carries one of the containers here, maybe like something you might see coming to or from the ports. Obviously not capable of very high speeds, but going pretty fast for a truck like this to be getting up to 75 miles an hour. Obviously not designed for that. Not sure what that is that's flapping off of the back of it. But we got a pursuit, and southbound on the 5, we'll see what they do here. Getting into the middle of the freeway, coming up to the junction of the 5 and the 170. Pat, Chauncey, Mike.
And Desmond, we understand you said they were filling up at a gas station. This all starting in Bakersfield. And the semi, I don't know if we can zoom in and see the letters on the back of that, or maybe a company or something. It looks, see, what does that say? Can you get a quick, clear?
Sorry, Chauncey, I was getting some new information here. Apparently, this truck was being followed by the victim of everything that got perpetrated here. So that is how CHP came into being involved in this pursuit now. What is this that is flapping off of the back? It looks like something got attached there to the very back of the truck. Might be a plastic bag or something like that. But yeah, it's what are we going to do with one of these trucks? I mean, they can go, as we know, a very, very long distance, depending on just how much gas, was in the truck, how much they were able to get in the truck before it was taken. I mean, we could easily head down to the Mexican border if they want.
And we certainly know they're not going to try a pit maneuver on something that big. You know what's interesting, Des? You said the victim was following the truck and was able to give information to police. You mean following in a vehicle? Do we know that they jumped in another car, or how did that happen?
I haven't gotten that information yet. That is a pretty good question. I mean, this is fairly unique, because usually when we see semis, you see them, they've got 2 containers or they just have 1 large trailer. This one's kind of configured a little bit strange in that, we just have 1 container in the back, and you kind of have a gap in the middle, and then you've got, the letters on the side of the truck as well. So it may have easily been the situation where the truck's not going very fast. Maybe he saw them get on the freeway, and if he had, a friend in the area and was able to go hitch a ride with them to follow the vehicle while they got a hold of CHP, I'm guessing maybe, it was a situation like that. But hopefully, CHP will be able to get us some more concrete information on that soon.
All right, Desmond, it looks like those letters CMA, CGM. Mike Rogers, do you have any information on this?
Yeah, so I was just looking that up, and this is maybe how they were able to follow this vehicle. That's an LAPD airship that they have finally gotten overhead to be able to track this. CMA, CGM is a logistics company, and when you go to their website, the first thing you can do is track the inventory. So it is very possible that there may be a GPS system in this. We've also dealt with stolen big rigs before where the big rig itself has a GPS system in it. So it may not necessarily have been a situation where the victim was following, but they may have had a GPS tracker on here, either in the semi itself or that container, and they were able to track that way and get units behind it. And again, this did start, we believe, stolen out of the Bakersfield area. It did sound like, when I was listening to the radio traffic, that at least the LA CHP units got involved with it on the 14 freeway as it was coming down. So again, stolen big rigs probably had a GPS on it, or that container that it is carrying, that CMA CGM container, which is owned by a logistics company. The goods inside of it may have also had a tracker in them.
And the interesting thing too, it probably is a fact. This person who was taking this truck obviously knows how to drive a semi, and that's not everybody.
Right, yeah. I mean, these are, they're not, certainly easy to drive. They're obviously stick shift. They have like certain restrictions, certain requirements. Des was mentioning when we first got over this, this semi-truck was going about 75 miles an hour. Yep. And at one point, when Desmond was looking at that thing that's kind of flapping off the back there, you could see the cab kind of bouncing from side to side a little bit, probably indicative of the high speeds and the inability to really keep a good handle on a vehicle like this and the weight of this vehicle at those speeds.
So, and we can say that CHP has been on this from the beginning, since it has gone from Bakersfield on the freeways.
Well, that's what I'm trying to sort that out right now. So we know that CHP knows it was stolen from Bakersfield, and we're trying to piece together exactly when they found it and got behind it. Mm-hmm. From what I was listening to on the CHP radios, it sounds like it was on the 14 freeway, because I heard a couple of units. They ran the plate a couple of times to verify it. So to me, it sounds like they picked it up on the 14 freeway, ran the plates, verified that it was the stolen tractor trailer that they were looking for, and got into pursuit with it. And you see that light from the LAPD helicopter. CHP had a pretty tough time trying to get a helicopter involved in this. This is actually the second pursuit, Des, and correct me if I'm wrong, that CHP has not had their own helicopter on it. So I don't know if they've got some maintenance issues going on down there, but they requested the LA Sheriff's Department helicopter. They didn't have one available, and now we're finally seeing the LAPD. I believe this is Air 16 that is with this.
That is correct. And so I was actually talking with my pilot, who may have a little bit more information on this. He thinks it may actually be more of a budgetary reason that they're not on this right now. Maybe if it comes closer to Fullerton, we'll see them launch for that. Oh, let's see. Kind of looked like he's slammed on the brakes there for a second here. I wasn't sure if there was something up ahead that he saw, but yeah, they didn't launch for the pursuit earlier, and then we had a pretty lengthy pursuit last week as well that went from Riverside to the West Valley that CHP never launched a helicopter on. So, you know, they may be just kind of rethinking things on a case-by-case basis, and just making perhaps the decision that it's not necessary at this point. Maybe it will become necessary later. I did want to speak to what, Mike was and what Pat was saying about how this person, obviously knows how to drive a truck. And I mean, well, we'll see, because they have been on the freeway the whole time. Obviously, keeping this truck in a straight line is going to be a lot easier than, if the suspect tries to get off the freeway, take one of those wide turns. This thing is going to handle very weird. It's going to turn very widely. That could be a lot more problematic. So if they get off the freeway, then we certainly hope that this suspect knows how to drive this vehicle, or it could end very badly. I mean, this is, especially with the way that this thing is loaded, with all the weight in the rear like this. I mean, you could fishtail, lose control really, really easily with a vehicle like this. But so far, keeping it straight and level, and wobbling a little bit there, actually. So maybe already having some issues, already kind of questioning what we were thinking. Does the suspect actually know what they're doing? It's
really wobbling, Des. Look at that. You almost want to think that something has happened to a tire. Well, now it's stopped. You don't think they were doing that on purpose, do you?
Or it might have something to do with this, whatever is flapping on the back that you called out, Desmond.
Well, that was supposed to, is that still there?
I'm sorry. What? Yeah. I can't tell if anything is wrong with the tires at this point, but who knows what's going on in the cab of that vehicle. My guess, though, is that as we've seen a lot of times with these stolen semi-pursuits, a lot of times a spike strip is the best way to disable a vehicle like this. Now, it could still go on for quite some time. Covered a pretty notorious pursuit that went on for, I think, 4 or 5 hours with a bunch of the tires that got spiked. And that vehicle just kept on going like the Energizer Bunny. But then there was another time when they used a spike strip on a semi, and that vehicle actually came to a stop pretty quickly. So we'll see if there's going to be any serious attempt to stop this vehicle. That's going to be my guess as to how they're going to do it.
And you know what, Mike? That's the first thing I thought, that maybe a strip had been laid down that we didn't see when the truck started wobbling like that.
And really, that's going to be their only option. Des mentioned that really long pursuit where that guy was in there for, I think, like 5 or 6 hours during that chase, spiked all his tires, and then he didn't come out for another 6 hours. He stayed in the car or in the cab and refused to get out. Orlando on our assignment desk was getting some information for us that this truck was actually stolen while somebody was filling up their gas, while putting gas in it in Bakersfield. So, I think Des mentioned that earlier too, but that is obviously going to be an issue here, is that this truck has a full tank of gas, because that's when it was stolen, while it was getting gas. So that's not going to be good either.
A lot of our Twitter friends like to talk about, well, don't talk about the fuel in the truck. Hey, this is actually happening, folks. We do know that the truck was getting some fuel, as it were, at a gas station. before it was actually stolen.
Yep.
So, and you know, the other issue here, we don't know who this person is or why they would steal a semi-truck in the first place and what the purpose is if they would, you know, try to get away. Were they in a vehicle when they came to the gas station and stole this semi-truck? Those are questions I'd like to know. Did they just walk up on this thing? You know, we don't know that right now, obviously, but very interesting.
Yeah, and you know, if it's a gas station, hopefully that there are security cameras at the gas station, and hopefully they witness this person.
Whoa, boy. Oh, this could get bad really quick.
Yep.
Whoa. Wow. Pretty scary maneuver right there. If it would have been just a couple more feet, I feel like he could have flipped that truck over because the ground was so uneven, though, as we're getting ready to make the transition here onto the eastbound 134. So this is the first deviation from the 5 freeway that we've seen here now coming through the Glendale area, eastbound on the 134. Kind of an interesting last-second maneuver there.
And I'm looking at the cars on the freeway, Des. I would really be concerned looking at this big semi-truck passing me like that and even wobbling and making those sudden moves, as you pointed out. And this thing could be so, I mean, top-heavy that it could easily turn over if he just took a curve fast or took an exit a little faster than he was supposed to.
And once again, we don't know if this suspect has driven a semi before or, you know, has experience. Mike Rogers, you were talking about this earlier. Pat, you mentioned the purpose. Why would someone want to steal a semi truck or this particular semi truck? Mike talked about a CMA CGM that's there on the side of the truck being a logistics company, which begs us to wonder, why would a person steal this truck or what's inside of this logistics company truck?
Or if they knew what was inside of the truck. Again, there's so many different questions. Des, you back on the air?
Yes, sorry about that. I was just talking with my pilot Mike on this one. So eastbound here on the 134. I'm sorry, did you have a question there, Chauncey?
No, we were just talking about the companies. Mike Rogers looked it up and we got some information. CMA CGM is a logistics company, and Pat was talking about the purpose. Why would someone want to steal this truck at the gas station? And also asking what may be inside this container.
No, yeah, that's definitely what I think all of us would like to know. My guess is that the suspect has no idea. I mean, I'm just speaking from times when we've had these, you know, stolen semis loaded with stuff, stolen U-Hauls. A lot of times when we're dealing with this, they're people that are, you know, not in a good state of mind, so to speak. If they have, you know, some serious issues going on, that is my guess about, you know, the person that took this. I mean, you can't seriously be thinking that you're going to steal something and thinking, what, there's like a truckload of gold bars in the back or diamonds, and you're going to be able to get away like, you know, Fast and Furious style or something with the big rig. I mean, there's really no hope of anything like that. So what do you really think is I mean, going to happen here? You have the slowest, most unmaneuverable vehicle that you could possibly steal that sticks out like a sore thumb, and this semi in particular with a logo on the back that also just has, like I said, kind of an unorthodox configuration that you don't just see like all of the other semis. So that's what just makes me say that. And from past experience, we're usually dealing with people that, you know, have some serious issues behind the wheel.
Well, we know that this truck was stolen in the Bakersfield area, so it certainly has traveled a long way. We haven't pulled out in a while, Desmond. I'm asking you that. Are CHP units still behind this semi, close behind on the ground, or are they just following from the air at this point? There they go.
No, they are.
Quite a few.
Yep, they are right back there, and yep, and LAPD from the air as well. You know, LAPD, as we know, they're up in the air pretty much like 20 hours out of the day as it is. And they're, I think, just kind of covering this as a courtesy. They probably don't have anything else at the moment going on as we come up right up next to another, kind of actually crossing the line there, forcing that semi to get out of the way, getting uncomfortably close for that poor guy who's just out here working hard tonight. And I don't know if you saw that. It kind of looked like he was kind of knocking him off the road a little bit there. So
almost like a challenge, Des.
Yeah, exactly. So now, you know, back into the lane. So we have seen A little bit of swerving back and forth. The most dangerous thing there, though, boy, back on the 134, if he would have, tugged the wheel just a little bit more there, that could have gone pretty badly for this truck getting onto that uneven ground. Kind of amazing that did end with that thing overturning back there. And I will note that the speeds have slowed down. Well, let's actually zoom back in and see what our speedometer is saying. Yeah, about 60 miles an hour. When we first saw this, he got it up to 75, which was kind of crazy. Almost never see semis going that fast, especially, if they're loaded down. But it's about 50, 60 miles an hour. I thought we were just going to stick with the freeway. Frankly, I had a feeling this was just going to go to the Mexican border or something like that. But now that we've transitioned onto the 134, it's anyone's guess. If he stays in this far right lane, though, he might end up transferring to the southbound too. We will find out shortly.
And Mike, you were talking about the company earlier, CMA CGM, and I'm on the website now, and it specializes in shipment tracking, and you can actually type in and track the shipment or track whatever is, in this trailer.
Right, and that's what kind of goes, while you guys were talking, I was on the phone, I called Bakersfield Police to see if they had any information on this. Bakersfield PD tells me that they did not take the report for this. They actually didn't really know what I was talking about. Ooh. And then I called CHP, and CHP tells me this is what is called an unreported stolen. So what that means is after the victim realized it was stolen, it sounds like they immediately started to track it and figure out where it was and then called 911. So this wasn't a situation where the victim realized it was stolen, Bakersfield PD or whoever, Kern County Sheriff, came out and took a report. It was not that kind of situation. The victim realized it was stolen, started tracking it, and then called 911, and somehow that call got transferred down to the LA County CHP, who then was able to get into position and get behind it. So, we say Bakersfield PD says they know nothing about a stolen big rig, so it's very possible that it's in an unincorporated area or a smaller area of Kern County where this was stolen from. So we're trying to sort that out, but CHP tells me it was what was called an unreported stolen, and then once the victim realized that it was stolen is when they called 911. They're repeating unreported stolen right now. And what could happen, when you have these long haul drivers, these semi-truck drivers, they could have, yes, stopped to get gas, but they could have gone in to eat, and there could have been a period of time that elapsed between when they realized it was actually gone, right? I mean, they could have been inside and come out, and it could have been, this guy could have had a 20-minute head start, right? So it doesn't sound like there was anybody injured in all this. It doesn't sound like it was, an armed takeover or anything like that. It sounds like this person was able to take it. The owner said, oh my gosh, it's gone, and started tracking it and called 911.
It's interesting, too, though, even if they did stop to rest or even go in and use a restroom or a facility or anything like that, that this person just, I want to know where you're walking and you saw the semi, you just jumped in it, or,
gosh, right. And he came down the 14 freeway, and the 14, if you take the 14 all the way up through Lancaster, up at Rosamond Edwards Air Force Base, that's all Kern County too. Mm-hmm. So it's possible that it was not all the way up in Bakersfield, just somewhere near Bakersfield in southern Kern County where this was taken from.
But far enough away, certainly from where they are now.
Right. But, not to make light of it, but they're headed towards the port. Maybe that's where this was going anyway, I mean, you have these, especially this company, when I was looking at their website, one of the things they specialize in is shipping, is sea shipping. So this could have been their intended destination.
And Mike, I was going to ask, based on what you said, it sounded like that the semi-truck driver possibly could have used the shipment tracking information from this company that they used to track the semi. Right,
and I mean, either that or, these semi-trucks are, a lot of these guys are independent owner-operators. A lot of these men and women that do these trucks are independent owner-operators. This is their livelihood, right? Yeah. So a lot of them take precautions against this type of thing by installing these GPS trackers, if that's in fact how they were able to do it. But that's not uncommon for these to happen, because that's all these people have sometimes is these tractor trailers to be able to facilitate their job.
So if we're going by the premise, which is basically what we're doing now, because we don't know for sure, but if this is a container and they're heading toward the port, that would kind of lead me to think that they've thought about what they're doing as opposed to just being sort of off their, I don't want to say off their rocker, but yeah, I will say that, because Des alluded to that they might have some issues. But at this point, if they've made all that connection that, oh yeah, okay, this is a part of I've got a container back here and I'm going to drive down to the port.
Yeah, I mean, we are eastbound 210, I think now, right? That is going a little bit away from the port, but still, in LA County.
And for the most part, they've been able to keep control.
Again.
Now it's
look
wobbling.
At this. Whoa, that was weird.
Yeah, big time.
That was very weird.
But Des, for the most part, this driver has been able.
There, or go ahead, Sean.
No, I was saying for the most part, this driver has been able to keep control of the semi.
Yeah, for the most part, we just kind of see these little instances of the cab kind of jerking back and forth a little bit, kind of strange. And it was also driving on the right-hand shoulder for absolutely no reason back there. I'm not sure if you saw that. That was very bizarre as well. I mean, what's the point? I mean, really, what's the point of any of this? But I mean, you're really just risking hitting something on the right-hand shoulder that could puncture one of the tires, or if you lose control and hit the embankment or something, then that's going to be that as well. So kind of strange why they were doing that. I just have to imagine. I haven't heard anything yet, but if we're going to see a spike strip or 2 or 3 in the offing coming up, it really seems like the perfect opportunity for that. I mean, we're actually, the speeds have fallen quite a bit. We're down to only about 30 miles an hour. CHP has a lot of time to set something like that up. I would imagine that they're coordinating something like that, but we have not heard about any of that yet. But yeah, definitely far away from the ports. If we were going to head down that way, it would definitely be a very roundabout way of getting there. But on the 210, maybe we're headed to Arizona now at this point. I mean, we made the eastbound turn. This vehicle, if it has enough gas in the tank, definitely capable of making that long haul.
And Des, I did notice that the LAPD swapped out helicopters, and it looks like a sheriff's helicopter is headed for you as well. So I mean, that'll be the third helicopter that gets involved in this. But I haven't heard, and maybe you've heard differently, I haven't heard any mention of any spike strips or anything like that they would be trying to get in place for. Have you?
Not yet. No, I have not. And but like I was just saying, it seemed like if ever there's an opportunity for something like that, this might be the opportunity. However, they're kind of in the middle of the roadway right now. I mean, it is just a lot of coordination, even if we are traveling at lower speeds, even with less traffic in the roadway. And there is definitely some jeopardy that CHP officers would be putting themselves in if that is the route that they want to go. Because if they're just going to play this until the driver decides that they want to stop or run out of gas, we could be going for a very, very long night, and definitely into the wee hours of the morning.
Okay, they just made a move there too. Did you see what he did? He just sort of like jerked to the next lane. It's not like he was avoiding anything. He just seemed to jerk the wheel.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, almost like a phantom spike strip or something. Like they saw something in the roadway that they didn't like, and then just kind of jerked it out of the way. But that's definitely a maneuver that this driver's got to be very careful with. It does, abrupt movement like that, and then it just kind of reverberates to the back of it.
All right, we are going to be joining Stephen Colbert here on CBS. But if you would like to follow us in this chase, you can turn to KCAL Channel 9 News. Thank you so much. And we are live on KCAL on Channel 9. We're following a pursuit. I wouldn't necessarily call it a high-speed pursuit. This is a stolen semi-truck that has been driving for miles and miles now. In fact, we believe that it was stolen out of Bakersfield, but that may not be necessarily the case. However, we know it was stolen out of Kern County. CHP is on the ground and overhead. Yeah,
I understand that the semi-truck driver may have been getting gas or something during this, and at some point the suspect stole this big rig, which is owned by CMA CGM. I want to go back to Mike Rogers. We were talking about this logistics company, and then that driver, the owner of the semi-truck, the trucker able to start to track the truck immediately after noticing that it was gone. Yeah, that's what CHP told us. CHP said that the owner, or the victim here, because they're a victim of a theft, was following the semi-truck. Now, they didn't initially say that was in a car or or what have you. It sounded to us like this was possibly somebody that called in and said that, hey, we're tracking this and this is where it's at. Then we heard CHP on the 14 freeway get behind the semi truck. They started to run the license plates to verify that this is in fact the truck that somebody had called 911 about and reported it stolen, or told CHP officers that it was stolen. And then those CHP officers attempted to pull the truck over, and they called it a failure to yield, which means it did not pull over. And we've been going ever since. We've been southbound the 14, southbound the 5, and now eastbound. Well, I guess we went eastbound the 134, and now eastbound on the 210. As CHP continues to chase this, there's an LAPD helicopter overhead, and this guy it's a truck that is going to be problematic for the CHP to be able to bring to an end. We've talked about spike strips. They've used that in the past. The problem is they have so many tires on these big rigs. You have to be so deliberate
with spike strips. We've talked about how difficult spike strips can be on the freeway. There's a lot of wiggle room for the suspect to drive around them. It's hard to get in front of them. There's other cars on the road. So there are a lot of challenges with trying to bring a truck like this to an end, to a pursuit like this to an end. Of course, they're never going to, do a pit maneuver or on a big rig like this, but all to say it could be pretty difficult.
Okay, why is it so dark out there now, Des? Did the chopper stop with the night sun, or? Okay, I see it trying to come back into view, but did that strike you too, Mike? It looked like all of a sudden we couldn't see anything.
We've got a little cloud layer here that we're just passing by. This kind of funky little cloud layer right around the 210 freeway, but it should be improving shortly as I walk out the window. By the time we get to the 605, it looks like it's going to be a lot more clear. So, yeah, and then, LAPD, they're down pretty low on this, so they're probably trying to, get around these clouds as well. There's their spotlight. They've got it back on. I think they just first. So speeds have picked back up a little bit, though. We got back up to 70 miles an hour, but still driver is and kind of, moving the truck around. So very, very strange one here. Still no word of spike strips or anything, but what was the point of deviating from the 5 freeway to the 134 on this one? Because we've been on the 5 all the way from Bakersfield, and now we've transitioned onto the 210 freeway. If they're just gonna take this to the end, then it's gonna end in the 10 in Redlands. But we have a lot of other freeway options before that: the 605, the 57, the 15, and the 215. So all indications are that this is going to be going on for a while.
Very interesting. Some of, again, our Twitter friends have, or ex-friends, someone wrote did a container fall off far back or in the beginning of this pursuit, because you normally see two, on a truck like this, and there's only one.
Right. Not that we've heard. I would presume that if that were the case, we would have heard that by now. So this could be a situation where it's just a half container that they're carrying, and who knows why. But our producer Courtney asked me to kind of look into a full semi truck. How far can that go? Some general research that I've done. It's not good. It can go pretty far. Some sites, some experts are saying about 2,100 miles. It really depends on how much gas was in this. 300 gallons is what the average semi truck kind of holds in terms of fuel. So that's a lot of fuel.
Mike, any more information on the circumstances surrounding when the semi was first taken? I know we had gotten information in the beginning that it started in Bakersfield, but Bakersfield PD telling you they know nothing about this.
Yeah, so that leads me, and I had a conversation with the lieutenant up at Bakersfield PD who says, a lot of times people say Bakersfield, but it's probably in the surrounding areas of Kern County, which would make a lot of sense. As we mentioned, this started on the southbound 14 freeway. If you take the 14 freeway all the way up, it kind of starts to turn into 395 a little bit, but up there is Kern County, Rosamond, Edwards Air Force Base. That area is all Kern County. So it's very possible that this was near Bakersfield and somebody just said Bakersfield. But what's called, CHP called it an unreported stolen, which means the owner never got the chance to actually file a stolen vehicle report with whatever agency is in the area. It sounds like they were able to immediately, CHP used the word follow, so it's unclear if it was physically follow or follow along on a computer or an app or something like that, where they were able to track the truck. And they began, CHP sounds like they may want to get a little bit more serious about this. I don't want to give away too much, but they are starting to talk about some stuff. So we'll have to see if that takes place soon.
I wonder if they know it, because all of a sudden they start speeding up a little bit.
Yeah, we're back into the 70s now.
Yeah, they're driving a little faster. We know that they usually come up with things, that we may not think about or may not really want to talk about or want to project. But I would imagine, what they would do, obviously, if this went, like we say, it could go on for hours and hours, they would certainly, CHP would still have jurisdiction, and they just change out in different...
Yeah,
right?
and that's already happened. So we have already gone through, this started in what's called the Newhall office. Those are different officers. Then we came into the Altadena office. Those are different officers. And now we should be in the Baldwin Park area, and those are different. So even of the course of this chase, they've already swapped out officers 3 times.
And they can continue to do
all the way to the state border. That is the reason you never really want to get chased by CHP. A, they don't really ever give up. and B, they've got the resources to chase you across the state.
I was going to say they don't have to give up. They
Right.
could just switch out and they put other
Forever
CHP
and ever.
units
Yeah.
on there,
Yeah.
and it's ongoing.
As long as you're in the state of California, they will be behind you.
Yeah. And Desmond alluded to this earlier. You just have no idea what this suspect is thinking. I always think, how did they think this is going to end?
And they may not even care.
Right.
You know, Desmond had mentioned about maybe having some mental issues. That's certainly the possibility. They could be out for an evening, you know, or an overnight joyride, knowing that this is not going to end well for them because they are going to be apprehended at some point, and you know what goes from there. So that's it. If we try to get into the psychology of people behind the wheel of these pursuits, for this there's no particular rhyme or reason because we don't know what's in the vehicle first of all.
Right.
And what they could possibly, it's not as if, well, you know, I just committed a robbery or burglary and they're going to be after me, so we're going to get away, and there's going to be several of us in the car and we're all going to disperse if they stop us and get out and try to do a foot bail. That's not the case here.
Right. Or if the suspect even knows what the semi is carrying. Like,
Right. Well, and I was going to mention that too. You know, we've dealt with it both ways. We've dealt with, you remember the big jewelry heist up on the 5 freeway
Yes.
in the Grapevine area. They stole it out of the back of the truck. They didn't steal the truck altogether.
Right.
But then a couple of months ago, I worked on a story where they did steal the entire truck full of walnuts, because apparently that is a hot commodity as well. So, I mean, who knows if this person knew what was in the back, if it was a crime of opportunity, if they'd been staking it out. I mean, we definitely have seen it kind of all of the ways here. So who knows what this person was doing?
Well, do we know more about this company that we've been talking about?
Just that, it sounds like, so and I want to be clear, I believe that the semi-truck and the trailer are probably owned by 2 separate entities, right? They usually, contract out the drivers to pick up the trailer and take it where it needs to go. CMA CGM is a logistics company that is tasked with delivering goods and services to various ports, to various, however they want to get them across the country.
Not specific goods?
Not specific, no.
Okay.
It's pretty all over. They'll pretty much, ship whatever it is you need to ship.
All right.
And
Yeah.
Mike, I'm on the website now. It literally says, "What are your needs?"
Right.
And it says
Yeah.
we operate in over 160 countries through 755 agencies and design and implement solutions to take care of your cargo right across the supply chain.
Right.
But it does not say specifically what kind of cargo.
No, and it
That's
looks
my-
like basically if you're a company that wants to ship goods, you would contract this company to ship those goods. And even on their website, you can put in your tracking number and see where your goods are. So I would venture to guess that either the driver's got GPS on the semi-truck or there's GPS within the container, and that's how they were able to pretty quickly, get their hands on this.
So, Des, we're on the 210 westbound. What's the possibilities here? What other freeways are coming up? Different routes that this driver could take.
210 eastbound here, so we just crossed
All right.
the 605 not
West.
too long ago. Next will be the 57, which is where, for many years, those of us that have lived in Southern California for many, many moons, remember that was basically where the 210 used to end at the 57. It went to Foothill Boulevard and it terminated, but everyone would pretty much have to divert to the southbound 57. Of course, the freeway now extends all the way to Redlands and bends down to the 10 in that area, and then heads towards Yucaipa and Palm Springs. Heaven forbid if we go that far this evening. So those are the freeways. We'll be crossing the 57 and then actually the 15 and the 215. And so we still have a few junctions, but we've just been noticing this truck. He's over on the far right lane, then he's over to the left lane. Definitely strange as far as the semi-pursuit's going, just thinking about how some of the other ones have gone. They usually just stick to one lane, for an entire pursuit. And that kind of makes me, worried that if CHP does try a spike strip at some point or something, that this person does seem to be, pretty adroit at getting the truck to move out of the way pretty quickly without flipping the truck over. So, what you were theorizing earlier, Pat, maybe the suspect does know what they're doing here as we make our way now through Glendora. So we will be at the 57 soon, but again, just wondering, are we headed somewhere? Is there any, reason, any method to this madness for transitioning away from the southbound 5 to the 134 and the 210 seemed kind of calculated, or was it just a random maneuver? Are we headed to Arizona? Gotta wonder.
Oh, now we bring up Arizona.
Oh.
Well, okay, Des, since you brought up Arizona, sir, let's talk about the possibilities then. We know CHP will follow you all across the state. So then what happens if it crosses state lines?
I imagine that, you know, they will contact their, you know, state troopers long before that, probably, you know, once they get east of Palm Springs or Desert Center or way out there, or Blythe, you know, pretty close to the Arizona border. They will definitely be on the horn with their compatriots in Arizona, letting them know about this. And well, we certainly know that Arizona could be awfully aggressive when it comes to stopping pursuits. I mean, they have things that we don't even have here. This crazy contraption that comes out of the front of the cruiser that can go on and like actually physically lock onto a suspect's wheel. I don't think they would do that with a semi necessarily, but from everything I've seen, it would definitely be in the suspect's best interest to end the pursuit before they get to Arizona. That's for sure.
Right.
Understood.
Mike, you getting anything new over there at the desk?
I'm listening to CHP trying to coordinate, you know, getting something in place. They're trying to get some. Sorry, I was listening to something else. They're trying to get units ahead of the big rig to set up what they want to set up, but it doesn't look like they've been able to do that. I do believe at one point that there was a spike strip attempt that the unit. And I don't think it was a full-on one, like they were able to get it across the freeway. It sounds like CHP unit was trying to get in place with it, and then he passed them, and he wasn't able to do that. So they're trying to coordinate some more stuff, but we're kind of come in soon to the inland areas at CHP, and as we know, out in the IE, San Bernardino County, Riverside, they get a little bit more aggressive with chases. So that's very possible that will happen as we come through the San Dimas area right now. As soon as we cross that state, or the county line rather, that's when the inland CHP division will get involved.
Mike, you talk about that attempted spike strip, and Pat, do you remember when you called out that sudden jerk? I wonder.
Yes. Well, you know, he's made several. I say he, because we've seen the truck wobbling, which now it appears that they could have done that on their own, you know, and that he did make a jerking movement, possibly
to avoid.
Right.
Yeah. You know, looking at, they could get pretty far ahead of this, I guess, if they wanted to, if they continue on the 210. The problem is, I guess, Mike, but maybe this would be less of a problem if they could see the officers actually with the spike strips, because that's what they normally do. They notice that they are there.
Right, and swerve.
And try to swerve to avoid.
Last minute, and that, yeah, and that's what's hard with the freeway. The freeway is so wide. Those spike strips are never going to make it all the way across to be able to effectively do that. Now, the only thing you could hope is that with a big rig, you know, he turns the wheel left, it's going to take a minute for all 18 or however many tires to get left, so maybe you'll catch the back few or something like that. But, you know, I want to show you some video, Pat. Actually, one of our photographers was on the ground coming back, Lori Fernandez, coming back from the mountain line, and she actually saw the big rig coming at her from the opposite side of the freeway on the 210 freeway. So I think there's the video from Lori as the big rig came down, and you can see it's moving at a nice clip. I mean, you've got the three CHP units back there following that big rig. So that's what drivers are seeing as they're going down the freeway, going home, wherever they're going. You've got this big rig barreling down towards you.
And now, like, well, 57 miles an hour. That's still relatively, I guess, high for a semi.
And Desmond, the way that the suspect has been driving, and we've seen, you know, weaving and wailing at times, and now we're inching closer to midnight here, so not a lot of cars on the road. So that's, you know, we're thankful for that, because that takes the danger level down just a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in fact, we haven't seen, you know, any vehicles passing this person right now, and that's almost certainly because, you know, the unit that's in the back is running a kind of a rolling traffic brake, where you know, they're going back and forth across the freeway, making sure that no one comes up and gets involved in this one. So that's why we haven't seen, you know, anyone passing the suspect right now. Sometimes they'll also hold on-ramps when they get close, especially, you know, if the suspect's on the right side of the road, as they have kind of had a tendency to do, where they'll hold the on-ramp to make sure that no one, gets in ahead and interacts with this person in any way. I mean, we saw earlier they kind of looked like he was almost like looking like he was trying to run that other semi off the road. Look at the last second kind of cutting right there as well. Getting kind of close behind that guy as well. So, yeah, definitely kind of weird that there is, even though, we are in a big vehicle, we're not going 100 miles an hour, there is kind of a weird level of aggression with this suspect here.
We're showing some video taken earlier, Des, of the driver wobbling the truck, and I think we could probably determine at this point that they were doing it on their own, and it wasn't necessarily because making contact with a spike strip or something, or even something on the ground, because we've seen this more than once. We also just showed our viewers video of this semi-truck driver pulling up to another truck, almost in a challenge, so to speak, maybe trying to move them off the road. And just now you described. Okay,
yeah.
guys.
Yeah, I couldn't tell if that was successful or not. I know. I think Mike and I heard him talking about that on the radio, and we'll have to listen if they say, good spike on that. It didn't really look like it to me, but if they were kind of hiding in the darkness there, kind of lying in wait. Well, you know what? Here, as I zoom in on. No, I thought I saw something in that front tire there, kind of in the middle section, but not sure if that was successful. It didn't really look like it from my vantage point.
Oh, that's too bad. Can we look at it again? Desmond, we're going to try to re-rack that video. We're going to work on getting it, because I think we were talking as that happened, so you would certainly be the point person
and
on
Mike,
that, you and Mike, if you catch
I just say good spike.
He definitely hit it. So the CHP officer was able to get the spike in the far lane just before the carpool lane, then pulled it towards the middle, and it looked, they're taking good spike on the radio, but it looks like he hit it probably with at least 3 or 4 tires. So hopefully it was able to puncture all of them.
Wow.
But it does look like that definitely that front driver's side tire was hit. Hopefully it continued to hit. The other thing we talk about spike strips, what we've seen before, is those front 2 tires get hit first, and that drops the profile of the semi-truck, and then the spike strips can't be used anymore, because then they toss a spike strip in front of it. What was that, Des?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we definitely got a good spike. I think he might be losing the front driver's side tire right here. I'm starting to see a lot of smoke coming out. So, they are confirming that. So, boy, it happened so quick. I couldn't really tell. It was kind of dark, but we definitely got some good spikes. And look at that, already starting to get some sparks. With some of these other vehicles where they're not as heavy, the tires can hold up for a while. But this tire seems to be giving out very, very quickly. So things are really going to get interesting. Might get dangerous for this driver. I mean, we've seen semis catch on fire when they try to continue to press this before. We covered one north of the Newhall Pass that it ended up turning into a vehicle, it being engulfed in flames. There goes all the rubber. So now we're, and now we're basically down to the rim, and that's probably going to melt pretty quickly as well. But still, this suspect not showing any interest in stopping, still keeping it above 50 miles an hour. How much longer can this continue?
I'm trying to. I don't see any more sparks. Do you?
Yes, just a little bit.
Where? Is that a spark? Oh, now I can see it underneath
we still got some here.
Now I can see it underneath. Do you know if anything happened in the back of the cab, or is it just the front of the truck? I would imagine so. If the spike strip connected with the front tires.
We know that they're saying that they confirmed that both front tires are no good. So that is pretty dangerous now. We've got, no tires in the front to steer this thing. So it could definitely, go south really quickly for this guy if he doesn't stop. But still keeping the vehicle above 50 miles an hour, it's a pretty incredible thing. Kind of drifting to the other lane here as well, kind of drifting between lanes. So it's just a real desperation, real stubbornness by the suspect.
Can you imagine how loud it is with those tires, the rims scraping and sparking like that? That certainly would, you would think that would be more disconcerting, or enough to say, okay, maybe the jig is up here. Right. I want to get out of this thing, in one piece, in relatively good shape. There's one thing to be handcuffed, but it's another thing for something even more serious to happen. What's going on now, Des? Seems like he moved to the right. Well, as soon as I said that.
And Des, we can't see
yeah,
that right
I
side,
think,
the right tire, but I mean, go ahead.
Yeah. No. Well, I'm just talking to my pilot, Mike. We are trying to bring that to you right now, see if we can get more of a head-on view. But I think we may be coming to an end here soon. And let's see how the suspect is going to take this now that their marathon pursuit from Kern County into San Bernardino County is coming to an end. Looks like we're in Ontario right now, so we're coming around while the vehicle's going so slow to see what it looks like on that side, just how bad that tire is. We'll probably end up coming back to the driver's side. So yeah, I mean, look at that. I mean, we're down to basically the rims
on
and
that
the
one.
brake calipers on both sides of the vehicle. So I think we'll probably come back to the driver's side here. My pilot Mike doing an excellent job on this marathon pursuit. But what's going to be next? Is this going to turn into a standoff, or, you know, heaven forbid the suspect try to get out and run across the freeway? We've certainly seen that happen way too many times in Southern California as well. I think we're going to be at that situation pretty soon, the way this is going.
Yeah, because he's even losing more. I'm looking at all that debris coming out from under that cap, right? Even more so, and more sparks. And the truck certainly, you wouldn't think that it's wobbling. It is wobbling on its own because it's been so damaged or decapitated, if you will. And it's down to 20 miles an hour. But then again, you're right, Des. What could be next? I know one thing. I mean, for now, even law enforcement has to be a bit concerned because do you approach a vehicle that's sparking and, you know, could possibly catch fire?
Well, and then to further that, CHP has just been notified by, it sounds like the person who owns this truck, that there may be a weapon inside.
Oh.
So who knows if the suspect knows that, and if the suspect knows where that is located, but that is another thing that they're contending with in this as well. You know, right at the beginning, the onset of this chase, they immediately requested canine units to join the pursuit. I believe there is at least one already with it, which is great news because that could definitely come to their advantage as we swerve all over the road here.
He is.
Yeah.
I mean, you can even tell
just convulsing all over the place.
But, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And that container.
Yeah, this is.
So what do you think, Des? Is this truck, is it, yeah, the poor truck. Do you think the driver is doing this, Desmond? Or is this the truck actually not being able to?
It's hard to say just because of the way that they were behaving earlier in that kind of weird fashion, kind of, you know, just jerking the truck back and forth the way that they were kind of randomly. So it's hard to say. I have to imagine that losing control of this vehicle, I mean, hope doesn't, you know, go into the center divider right here the way this is going. But how much longer can this poor truck go on? You know, hopefully not doing any, you know, serious engine damage or anything to this truck. I mean, you know, the owner is definitely, I'm sure, extremely concerned about the outcome of their vehicle and how this is all going to shake out and what kind of, you know, repairs they're going to make, and hopefully the truck ends up intact. So you can see, I'm hearing them just say, you know, hey guys, stay back a little bit, because they don't know what's going to happen. Is going to, you know, drive the truck up onto the embankment or through the center divider or what. But still going here, only at about 12 miles an hour. This truck giving it its all, not giving up just yet. But again, the way that they're pushing it could easily catch this truck on fire if they're not careful.
Yeah, I was about to say, Desmond, you were talking about that, how this could become very dangerous for this suspect, especially with, you know, the sparks coming from both sides. Those tires, though, on just the rims now. So I can't see this going on too much longer, Des.
No, I can't imagine so. But, you know, we say that and then it just keeps going, But really, really struggling to keep control of the vehicle, just listing back and forth like a rudderless ship out here. I mean, look at the turns look like they're getting a little bit more dramatic here. We're trying to, you know, we've really been wanting to see inside the inside of this cab, but just have not been able to get a look at this driver. We even tried to look through the windshield and just could not get a good view of the person. But I can kind of see them a little bit. They definitely look like they're panicking. I'm seeing a lot of body motions going on in there right now, and I'm sure they're in panic mode. They have no tires controlling this huge hulking vehicle, and look at that. We're actually speeding back up now. We're back up to like 35 miles an hour. How is this happening right now, and how much longer can it go on? This is wow. a pretty well-made truck, I guess we can say that.
Well, that's for sure. But at the same time, you know, we can start seeing even more sparks as this truck is picking up speed. And then that also maybe gives us a little more insight into this person driving the truck, because they slow down tremendously for a while and then just picked up speed again, but they've been driving back and forth, I would say purposely. At first I thought maybe that was the truck.
Those seemed pretty deliberate. You know, it also poses an issue for CHP tactically. They can't see in the truck either. They don't know what this guy's doing, if he's moving around. You know, the benefit of a car or even a pickup truck is they can see through the back window, but that obviously is not something that they're going to be able to do here. So, you know, you already heard Desmond say that they asked the units to kind of keep their distance a little bit here, probably because of the fire risk, the crash risk, but also because they can't see this guy.
And then also you talked about police saying, talking about a possible gun inside of the truck.
Yeah, a weapon. They didn't specify what the weapon was, but yeah, that the owner, you know, must keep, obviously for protection, must keep something in there. And it doesn't. They never stated that the suspect has it or knows where it is or anything like that. But it was an officer safety kind of awareness thing that there is something in there.
Do we know which CHP jurisdiction actually laid down that spike strip earlier? Right before it happened, we were talking about the IE, and as it got closer, that they would be a lot more aggressive.
It was.
So I'm just wondering.
Probably the ones we're in Rancho Cucamonga's office area now. But the area we were in, I believe, was Baldwin Park's area. So more sparks coming out of the truck now after that spike strip happened back in the Baldwin Park area, slash kind of coming into Ontario. And 50 miles an hour, I mean, you know, no tires, and it's still going.
Then makes you wonder, again, we can never really figure it out, but what could this person be thinking with sparks flying? And you have to think, you know, the possibility of you know, fire.
And what's the, I mean, you know, Desmond was on a pursuit southbound on the 5, I think he talked about it, where this exact same thing happened, and then the semi-truck caught fire.
Yeah.
And the suspect had to get out. So, I mean, that's not unrealistic to happen at all.
And Desmond, I'm so surprised that this suspect is now going even faster, especially with those two front wheels shot.
I really can't believe it. I thought that we were going to be near the end of this one here, just with the truck, you know, physically incapable of getting back up to speed, and yet here we are above 50 miles an hour. There you see another CHP unit that's coming, getting involved in this fiasco. Frankly, that's what it is. I mean, I think we're down, pretty much down to the brake caliper at this point, and then what's going to happen? I will have to imagine once that falls off, that is finally going to disable this truck. Just amazing how stubborn, how obdurate this suspect is this evening here, just refusing to give out, just dragging this out as long as possible. Yeah, I've just what can you say? This is a pretty wild one.
You know what, guys? Okay, what is the possibility here? They wouldn't need to do another spike strip, right? Because there's no tires on the front.
And that's what, so the last time we had this marathon semi-truck pursuit that went on for like 6 hours, what happened is they did that, what you're seeing on the right side of your screen, they put the spike in, and exactly this happened, where it took out the front two tires, but then what happened is that the driver kept going and kept wearing down what was left, and the front of the semi-truck got so close to the ground that when they tried to put new spike strips underneath, there wasn't enough clearance for the spike strips to get under to hit the other tires. So then the spike strips became ineffective, which really kind of, you know, hampered CHP's plans to be able to bring it to an end. So we'll see if that happens here. And then the other part is, you know, wow, lots of sparks.
Oh, look at all these sparks.
Almost fire, Des, or is that just sparks?
I was about to say, is it fire under?
Yeah. Well, we'll see. Maybe if we can work it to the other side. I think the passenger side is down to the caliper as well. I mean, this is going to catch fire. You can see. Look how hot this is glowing now.
Looks like it is.
This vehicle is going to catch fire, and I mean, this suspect is literally jeopardizing their life now, just continuing this madness. This is starting to get pretty scary.
And Des, that right side looks like it looks like it may be already on fire. On the right side, it looks pretty bright over there.
Yeah, we're working our way over to the passenger side right now to look at that. It is, you're right, a lot more than just sparks coming off. So now CHP is probably going to want to keep their distance on this one. As I mean, look at how hot that is glowing on on that side. That is wild.
This really is so surreal. It's almost like a movie. Like this was almost done on purpose. This is, you know, I mean, when I say on purpose, I mean with crews and pyrotechnics. This is just unbelievable.
Yeah.
And yes, and this person has got to see and feel now what's happening, I would imagine. So,
sound wall.
you know, Desmond, you were talking about how we have seen people with issues. You know, that might certainly be the case here because they don't seem to be, they're not trying to stop. It doesn't look like it. And they've got, it's got to be just.
Oh, he's going to catch the embankment on fire. Oh, boy. You're going to catch the, okay,
well, no,
it's stopped, but he stopped right on the right hand shoulder now, and he's out and running on the embankment now. So finally out of the vehicle, at least the pursuit is over, and the suspect safely out of the vehicle now. So now, see if they're going to probably try to hop this wall, but this is a pretty tall wall right here. So CHP is going to follow him up this kind of wooded embankment right here in Rancho Cucamonga on the border of Ontario. We'll try to come around to the over the freeway once we get a chance. But look at that semi engulfed in flames.
Desmond, this looks like a pretty steep drop too. I'm looking here if he's tries to get over this wall.
Well, they're right behind him.
There we go.
Oh,
boy, they just, they just got over the fence right there and took kind of a fall, just running on adrenaline right now. But they're going to catch up to this guy. Is he out on Hermosa Avenue? You can see, I believe that's the spotlight from San Bernardino County Sheriff's Deputies helicopter, 40 King that has joined. Oh boy, running up to
a home.
Into someone's, right here off of Hermosa Avenue, just south of the 210 into this apartment complex. Looks like they are pretty winded. So hopefully we get some officers in here and bring this madness to an end.
Well, if they had canines, this would be a great time to use them, wouldn't it?
Yeah, they're talking about, they've got one. They're talking about getting it up there and getting it released. The problem is someone's got to push that canine over the wall that the suspect jumped. It did look like there was flashlights running up behind him. It seems like they may be close.
Close, yeah. Yeah, because he's taking back off now. So,
but Desmond, what do you see?
Well, we're just have to cede this airspace to the authorities. There we go, out of the parking lot. You can see the smoke coming from that semi. Just widen out and see if we can see both. Oh, looks like they were trying to maybe carjack another vehicle there. They're going to have him here in just a moment. They're getting ready to surround the suspect. It seems like it would have been a great opportunity for the canine right there. But coming around, but there's going to be another officer is probably going to meet him here on the other side of this driveway, just trying to catch up to this guy still out here running. We saw it looked like they were trying to get into vehicles. Oh, they've got that. They've got a taser trained on this guy, right behind the house there. They're going to get him into custody right here. It looks like right behind this condo complex.
Wow. Yeah, we can see a struggle. Looks like they do have them, Desmond. I certainly would like to know once we find out just, what is happening with that truck.
Right, and the fire there on the side.
Yeah, let's go ahead and widen out. Yeah, we'll widen out and find that truck for you here. So that is just off of Hermosa Avenue, this area that we're talking about. Now the suspect is in custody. Let's take a look at what is left over of this big rig, and I'm sure the owner of this truck is just besides themselves right now. I really hope that they have good insurance because this is obviously going to be a total loss, and this is someone's livelihood now that just went up in flames because some suspect, for whatever reason, decided they needed to go on a marathon pursuit and take it as far as it could physically go before the truck burst into flames coming from Bakersfield and ending in Rancho Cucamonga.
Truly, and then jumping over that wall there, possibly also taking his life into account because he could have fell the wrong way.
Ooh.
And that would have been something different. Mike, what do you see?
No, it looked like there was a little pop out of that.
Yeah, it was probably just hit the fuel tank, I imagine.
Yeah. Desmond, it seemed like that the officer may have tased that suspect just as he was turning that corner, and that might be how they got him to stop right there.
Yeah, I think they were just about caught up with the suspect, And at that point, you could see that they had the taser ready. I imagine that they deployed it right there just to bring it to a conclusion without any further incident. That person is in custody. Obviously, now we're focused, though, on the vehicle and just, how serious this fire is going to get. Now this is getting a whole other agency involved, obviously, with the fire department. So we should see them arriving within the next couple of minutes, and, they should be able to get that out. Fortunately, it doesn't look like it's spread too much to the embankment. We don't have any wind blowing out here, but a extremely hot fire here on the 210 freeway just before Haven Avenue.
And actually, too, guys, it's maybe even fortunate that we had some rain, so it's not as dry as it would have been, because it wouldn't take much.
Right. I was just thinking about that. If that semi, if he had pulled over just a little bit further or something, we would have seen that whole hillside take off with all of that, and that is a lot of vegetation that's right there.
Well, we certainly didn't expect this. Even when when we first saw sparks, we kind of figured, well, they've got to know that they're in a pickle here, and that they're hearing all the noise and seeing the sparks, that they're going to slow down or stop eventually. But this guy really took it, what's that song, taking it to the limit. He really did here.
And
no question.
And Mike, you talked about this with the last pursuit involving a semi-truck, that this very well could happen.
Right, and that's exactly what happened the last time. And when you get the metal on the road like that, it just creates so much friction, that creates so many sparks, and those sparks can just catch something really quick. And you got to give the truck a little bit of credit. I mean, it was sparking for a long time before it finally, gave up and burst into flames here. And you just feel for it. It looks like now that there's some light on it, Ulysses, is that what I see on the door there, Des? Of whoever owns this this truck or this trucking company? Yeah, it looks like Ulysses. So, that company.
Yeah, and I believe it does. Yeah. Well, it looks like it says Bakersfield, California on the door, as well, as we really zoom in here. Yeah, Ulysses G, Bakersfield, California, and then the looks like the license number there just below it. So just well, the worst kind of night for the owner of this truck, who's already been through so much stress in all of this, and now watching this unfold on Southern California television. Like I said, just really hope that they have some good insurance.
Yeah, and I just pulled their Department of Transportation business license for that Ulysses trucking company. They are based out of Bakersfield, and they are what is called an authorized for hire. So it is what we thought. They are for hire, and they are cargo. The cargo that they are carrying are allowed to carry is general freight and containers, which is exactly what this is. So what's interesting, though, is we'll have to follow up on this, because I'm obviously not going to give it out, but the phone number on license is actually an LA phone number. So we'll have to see if this company originated out of LA, but they do have a physical address in Bakersfield, Ulysses G Trucking Incorporated, according to their U.S. Department of Transportation license.
All right, well, thanks for that information, Mike. We're going to show a replay of how this all unfolded. You see the suspect on the right side of your screen. The truck catches on fire. The suspect is out and running into the hillside there. It's pretty dark, but you will see him eventually coming to a drop-off, a pretty significant drop-off, there he is, and he is going to make it. He's going to go over that wall there and end up on the street and just really continue to run for quite some time. And must say again that the neighbors in the area, because we did see this suspect try to get into, well, it's certainly at an apartment complex or some homes there. I mean, they have to be
There's the fire department.
Interrupted from their sleep. Yeah, the fire department has just arrived. But as you can see there with that picture, he's still running well before officers catch up to him. But again, if you're a neighbor, a resident there, if you were asleep, you aren't anymore.
Especially if you live in this particular complex, or even that unit or whatever that he when he went under the awning and then goes around this building. And it's,
but
those
you're hearing
officers,
all the noise.
Right?
You got helicopters overhead.
Yeah.
This truck is on fire. Probably heard the screeching tires. And to think, you could probably see the light from the flames and thinking, what in the world is going on at midnight in my neighborhood here?
Yeah, definitely the smoke. So Mike, in these situations, and you talk about strategy, once the fire department gets on scene.
Right. Yeah, the fire department actually, the reason it took them so long is they had to come up wrong way on the freeway because of the traffic and trying to maneuver through that. Now, in theory, this would just be a straight water situation. They'll be able to get some water on it and hopefully put it out. If it's stubborn, they may have to use foam, depending on if there's fuel burning or what have you, especially since you're near an engine compartment. But you see I believe that's Ontario Fire or Rancho Cucamonga Fire, I think maybe San Bernardino County that contracts with Rancho Cucamonga there. But they're on scene now, and they're getting these lines out from the engine here to hopefully get some water on that, and hopefully this is done and over soon. And as we mentioned, though, unfortunately, that truck is going to be an absolute complete loss, and whoever was driving this is stuck on the side of the road in Kern County somewhere, after their truck got stolen.
And if they're watching this, then they see what's happened,
right.
And that just got to be really
and the other thing our producer
heartbreaking for them.
Right. The other thing our producer just pointed out is when you have semi-fires like this, when it is completely destroyed like this, a lot of the material begins to stick to the freeway, and it takes them much, much longer to be able to clean up the freeway and get this semi-truck off. We've seen them on the 5 freeway, Des, right in the Grapevine, where it takes them hours and hours to clean up semi-fires.
And tell us again,
yeah,
Mike.
Absolutely.
Oh, the freeway, Des, where are we again?
We're on the 210 near the Haven exit on this eastbound 210. So
okay.
The Rancho Cucamonga area, not too far away from Interstate 15. Fortunately, for LA drivers, this is happening, into the overnight hours, and this hopefully, won't be affecting the morning commute at all. It's also on the eastbound side, and all the morning traffic is on the westbound side. So at least, there is that modicum of good news for LA drivers, worried about how this could affect the morning drive.
And, I mentioned that, Desmond, because we want to make sure our viewers tune in at 4 a.m. to KCAL News and certainly pay attention to the traffic reports. But we're just wondering if some of that material left from that truck could still be on the road. I mean, even in just a few hours from now, if it could be burned into the cement. I guess we'll have to find that out maybe momentarily here.
Yeah, sometimes with these situations, they actually need to get like some Caltrans engineers to come out and actually, inspect the concrete to make sure that it didn't suffer any kind of severe damage. So, it is possible that this could be here into the 5 or 6 a.m. hour. I mean, they're not even going to begin to clean this up for a while, and CHP is going to be conducting their investigation, as soon as the fire is out as well. So, this certainly could be something that could be a morning signaler. We will see how that plays out on KCAL Morning News.
Yeah, this chase with the semi-truck coming to a fiery end, but finally over.
That's right. Well, Desmond Shaw, great job as usual up there. Mike Rogers, Chauncey Glover. We want to thank our viewers for staying with us through this pursuit. We started on Channel 2 and ended up on Channel 9. We're going to bid you all a good night, return you to regular programming, but make sure you tune in to KCAL News Mornings beginning at 4 a.m. for the latest on this incident and, of course, on the traffic situation. All right, we'll hope to see you tomorrow.